Hey there, Sagittarius community. You know who it is. It's Soul Tigers with a story for this wonderful frequency. First off, I'm going to say thank you for your time, your energy, your patience as I navigate the story between the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, and everything in between. Keep in mind, though, that this is a safe and sacred space where we call in the angels, ancestors, guides, as well as divine and universal energy to come in and be the guides and protectors for all the positive messages here. Remember that this is not love tarot. I'm not doing that here. What this channel is geared around is self-empowerment. What that means is we're trying to create these stepping stones for us to get more aligned with our soul being, which connects us to a higher source of energy. So let's get started with the vibe, Sagittarius. So first thing that's coming in is I have a Sagittarius here that's overly fixed in one direction. Mutable energy, the end of things. Could this be only fixed on an outcome of how things happen? This has been enhancing an internal fear. Navigating this is a must here, Sagittarius, because we need to overcome this fear. It is a part of the journey to get to your destiny. Could this stem from a past regret of trusting others? Does it have to do with others in general? It's time to see where to plant new seeds. What this means is whatever we focus on, whatever we practice, we get really good at. So how can we plant some other seeds so we can practice caring and focusing on something different about ourselves? This could be a different view about ourselves. So planting the seeds that honor how far you have come and all the things that you have overcome. This hurdle now is more mentally charged. And you get to the ascension. You can get to this ascension if you choose to overcome this hurdle. Ooh. Like I said, this is far different from everyone else's. Let's talk about Sagittarius. We got Jupiter as the planet. It talks about optimism, talks about generosity, and it talks about manifesting. We also have the mutable energy. It's like bringing the end to seasons right here. So maybe there's not seeing how things could have been different, why this was the way it was, why we chose to do the things that we were doing in a past self time. And when I talk about past self times, I don't mean other lifetimes. I mean like 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Those are our past selves, but those past selves help get us to here and now. But sometimes we don't see that. We only see the choices that we made back then. So let's keep pushing forward here. I have the Talisman Oracle. Whenever I have this out, I know that there is a divine eye on things. So it could be everything's divinely timed. I'm not sure, but it was coming out in the pre-shuffle that everything is. So let's go ahead and get started with the introduction for the Sagittarius community. Angels and ancestors, what needs to come out? Well, the first thing out the chute, we got something we don't want to see. Ooh, that's a good one. Cutting ties. What is it that we need to cut ties with? What is it that we haven't come to full circle with? Oh my goodness. Could it have to do with unforeseen change that happened once upon a time ago? Change that we weren't expecting. change that we didn't want. Because let's be real, not all change feels like good change when it happens. So I have growth of energy here. Something we're not seeing. This could be that hurdle. When we're able to overcome this hurdle in the mind, we're going to see an abundance. It's like a new kind of fertile energy is going to come in. This doesn't mean with pregnancy and stuff. Fertility, think of springtime. Think of blossoming. Think of wonderful ideas. Somebody who's very optimistic and very open about things. That's what that's going to bring in. A sense of not being as closed off. All right, what else needs to come out? Knowledge. We're confused on the things that we know. We are confused on the things that we know right now with whatever we have the ties to, whatever change that happened that we weren't expecting, maybe change that was really hard to accept. Let's see. All right, this is the last two cards. Now we got two things landing on each other that we don't see, reaching out towards the knowledge and the growth energy. Ah, there it is, destiny. We're not seeing it. I can't say we're not accepting it. It's just a plain out, we're not seeing it. I would say when it comes to seeing how this lesson, this change played into our future destiny, or even our destiny of now, of where we're at. Somebody's not being mindful. I learned about mindfulness more in depth when I went into therapy. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is when you bring yourself back into the moment of the now. You take yourself out of that past. You take yourself out of scrutinizing yourself of the past. You take yourself out and you bring yourself back to the now. And you give yourself time to sit and to process this. But you have to understand your regrets don't have to rule your day. That's what I'm getting at. You can set times to process this, set times to really think about it. Give yourself permission to be present in the now. And when we keep going back to the things of the past, wondering how then our future would have turned out if these unexpected changes didn't happen. That's, you're going from one to the other, but you're not here in the now. And that's what helps ground us out, is being here in the now. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get started with the present. So, divine and universal energy, what is it that wants to come out for the present? There's a lot of stuckness here. A lot of stuckness. But in the stuckness, what I get is there's a Sagittarius who's kind of like fumbling around in the past. Like, just kind of looking at everything happened, past choices that were made. And it's just like they see it as a darker time for themselves. That's what I get. You have the Ten of Swords in reverse on the mindfulness and the knowledge. So we're not seeing how we can govern our thoughts. We're not seeing the success of things. We're not seeing how things have come to blossom. If you think about it, Sagittarius, in this story, if those things, those changes didn't happen, would you have been able to go as far in the direction that you have went in? On Destiny, I have the Hangman in reverse. Sometimes that is hard to think about, and we only stay stuck in the one way of seeing things. If sometimes those past things that, if they didn't happen, would you have changed so much from learning the lessons from it? That's another good thing to ask yourself. With this Hangman here is, we only have a belief in one direction, and we're really stuck on it with the Chariot here. That's moon energy that talks about nurturing, how we like to nurture, how we like things to nurture us. But we're out on the cold with this one. We're stuck. Even though you don't feel like you're stuck, I have a feeling there's a Sagittarius here that doesn't really feel stuck. They're very progressive. They're very progressive, but there's a reason why this is being brought up. And we're going to find out. 10 of Coins here. They don't feel like they've reached any kind of success. Maybe success in finding a stable community. Yeah, 6 of Wands. Success with others around them. Others could be having their back. Others protecting. Others riding out with them. What else needs to come out? The Sun in reverse. I have a feeling that this really does go into reflecting into a younger time. Usually the Sun depicts a child energy, fast-moving energy, having a lot of fun, enthusiasm. But here we have a side where we're not really enthusiastic about it. And it really comes down into our soul being, because the Sun also brings the energy of the soul of self. It's something that we really are reflecting on with these others, because I have the Sun looking out onto the 10 of Coins with all these others, and to this 6 of Wands with this Judgment right on the top. What else wants to come out? I have a feeling that Sagittarius has been really withheld about things. I feel like they bring on an outside of appearance of a King of Wands in a sense. This means not that you're like going out and you're like beating stuff up, you know, and setting a fire everything. What this is you're just kind of handling life outside of the emotions. It's like you tapped out of your emotions to see everything only from the logical view at that time, or the logical view that you have developed over time. And with this King of Wands in reverse is, yes, this whatever this is in the past has fueled things for you, but it's also put a lot of things out. It's also withheld a lot from you, or it has you withholding yourself from a lot of things. Could be a lot of opportunities. I feel a lot of sadness right now. I have a Sagittarius that's deep down inside that whatever this is, it's very heartfelt. And it's weird because they have this King of Wands, and King of Wands ain't like that when they're in the reverse. Let's see. Yeah, look at all this confused on directions. 10 of Wands, what was once grown. Queen of Coins in reverse. This has definitely filled you in a direction where you only see things one way. It could be also that you really feel like you are on your own with a lot of stuff internally. Because I don't have anyone else out here who feels like a supportive energy around you. That's what I'm getting. Let's get a clarity card for this Queen of Coins in reverse. What is the clarity card for this Queen of Coins in reverse? Five of Cups. Oh. Yeah, this really does pull at your emotions. Not knowing how to let go, but finding ways to move forward still. What I get is a picture of a Sagittarius who's put a block up to the block so they don't have to see it. How do you do that, Sagittarius? Y'all would be so inventive like that. Put a block up to the block. Oh my goodness. Five of Cups, Scorpio energy. Transformation through relationships. Not knowing that what once was dumped out doesn't mean that it always has to be dumped out. In a sense, what was dumped out can allow other things, new things to come in, better things. Things that are more suitable for our now selves, if that makes sense. Because a lot of times we're not the same person we were 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Remember that. Even a year ago, sometimes things can change so much, even in 1 year. I have a Knight of Cups. So we're confused on how to give ourselves a new offering, confused on what directions to go. When we look back, again, we only see it with that one judgment view. Here we are, the last few cards. That last view comes at how we directly handled it to get us to where we are now. Like I said, you built the block to the block so that you could take it out and not deal with it, and you found a way to work around it. But you didn't see how that left you attached to the energy. That left you not being able to grow more, to have a transformation. Have a transformation with what happened with these others. What happened with them and what happened with you. Alright, so let's take a deeper dive into the block. Because right here, we're only at the icing on the cake, it feels like. What is it deep down here? What is it? Ancestors, 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 and angels of protection. Help us out as we navigate this block. What is it at the core here that is blocking this Sagittarius frequency? Some stuff we don't want to see right away. Let's see. The Fool. Confused on how to move forward still, even though you felt like you have moved forward. Yeah. And the King of Swords. Ooh. This King of Swords. I always say that there's a bit of arrogance to this King of Swords when they are in a reverse, confused position. And what is that saying is, ignorance is bliss. And sometimes, like I said, when we have put a block to the block, then we're pretending, we're trying to put some that we want to pretend doesn't exist out of our minds. So what is that saying? Out of sight, out of mind? But the whole thing is, this is rooted within you. This could have been times where in your past self you weren't making the greatest choices with others. And that could be a lot of many things. In our younger versions of ourselves, we have to make plenty of mistakes, and we have to be around people who are wanting to make mistakes too, to teach us where we want to be, who we want to be. Don't forget that. What else needs to come out for the block? We're confused on how we manifest things. We really look back at that past, the things that have us attached to the past. Here comes the Hangman again in reverse. Only seeing it from that view. And technically, it's a right side up view. It is a right side up view. You're using your logic with it. But how can you flip your view to the other side? How can you see the other side of things? How can you see that your journey was meant for you? And that whoever else is involved in the past, their journeys were meant for them. No matter how they turned out, everybody has free will. You chose to use your free will in one direction, in your direction that felt right for you at that time. What else needs to come out? Yeah, we're not wanting to be truthful with ourselves. When we look at this past, when we look at the mistakes with the others that we had in the past, what I'm hearing is, deep down, we can't put the past self down. What else needs to come out? Five of Swords. Do I say more? How can you see that your lessons, you were meant to put the past down? What happens if you were meant to put the past down however you did, differently from these others, so that you could show these others they had other choices? How can you see that putting the past down, the way you did, however you did it, and how you move forward, is what propelled you to keep moving forward? Sometimes it's hard. It is really hard to see past stuff like that. Because what happens is we have these unexpected changes. Nobody likes unexpected changes. And when they hurt a lot, that's because we cared so much. How can you see that also you putting a block to the block was in a way you trying to keep your heart safe? Maybe you weren't ready for the truth that we're embarking on now. those new seeds that need to be planted. Maybe back then you weren't ready for it. Maybe now you're ready for it, because somehow this is going to play into whatever you're doing, however you operate, whatever goals that you have. All right, can we get a few more cards? Few more cards for the block. What else needs to come out for the block for Sagittarius? There we are. There's only one. It is only one. Let's see. We have the High Priestess. Oh. I feel like somebody only views themselves as the bad guy back then. The person who wasn't making the right choices, the person who withheld a lot. High Priestess, Moon energy again, Cancerian. I feel like I was not making right choices back then. I'm not being accepting. I'm not having mercy. I'm not holding compassion. And I'm not holding kindness to whatever this past self was. I don't see the yin and yang and how this shadow side of myself was operating. What is the last card? Here comes the Knight of Cups again. Again, not knowing how to give yourself another view, another emotional view. What it is that the thoughts will enhance the emotions, which that happens a lot of times for us. Our thoughts could definitely enhance our emotions, or it can go the other way, where it's our emotions that will enhance our thoughts. But I really feel like it's the thoughts around this situation that does affect the emotions. I always tell this to signs. Y'all gotta be careful when y'all trying to operate out of your element. You are a fire sign. How can you see this from a more passionate view? Instead of just the logical view, this critiquing view, this overly evolved view. And the reason why I say overly evolved view, because yes, our evolvement is beautiful, but when we put ourselves so high up on the evolvement totem, then we only see everything of our past from that view. We could scrutinize ourselves too much. And what happens is we hold this view that we have now as the expectations we should have had back then. But how did you get to that evolvement in the tier? It had to be through these lessons. It had to been through these sudden changes. Else you would have never got up here. And a lot of us forget that, Sagittarius. A lot of us. And guilty as charged. I am one of them. I have to sometimes bring myself back down and practice the mindfulness of now, where I'm at, where I once was, and just being open to what can happen for my future. So let's go ahead and dive into the conclusion. Divine and universal energy. What is it that needs to come out for the conclusion for the Sagittarius frequency? What is it? Ooh, they got a message here. Look at this. Creativity. Creativity. How can you fill your cups differently? Look, 3 cups here, right? And I was talking about planting those new seeds to focus on. Those new seeds that we're going to look back a little bit differently. But when we look back, we're going to have the view of honoring ourselves, of seeing how we weathered this journey day in and day out, still waking up and trying. How can we see that view a little differently? Maybe it's through creative expression. Creative expression, creativity is just, it's very beautiful. It's very energizing. And you don't have to be up to any par to do it. But how can you express how you feel in a creative way, in a loving way? Look at these soft colors right here. A way that lets it flow out. Because when you start to flow from your main, your core, it's going to flow into the rest of you. And look at that. That is the investment to make here. These are your cups. These aren't anybody else's cups. Your cups. Don't forget, it took some work for you to do something different. It took some work to go against the norms that were once were. Don't forget that. That took a lot of work back then. It took a lot of work to change what was going on for you. All right, what else needs to come out? So under this knowledge, this mindfulness, we can open up. We can open up. Look at that. Might be a big cleanse out. Look at, there's more eggs. Maybe that cleanse out will help bring that growth energy, so we can find our new beginnings. And what I have else is, it's been a struggle. It has been a struggle for you to get from point A to point B and to continue going. It's a struggle when all these unexpected changes keep happening, because it never stops in a sense. They're always going to be there. But trying to fight what has happened, what's going to happen, will keep you struggling more. That's why I say you got to be open to the future. You got to be kind to yourself in the past. You got to be really here with yourself in the moment. And you got to be open to what happens for your future. Saying that I wish I would have, could have, should have, kind of regrets. That's what holds us back. That's what dulls our light. If you can say, hey, I'm okay with what happened. I'm okay because I'm here now, and I would have never made it to here if it wasn't for there. And then building from there. Well, technically taking the block down from the block and then getting over the hurdle. What do I have here? It's a new day. A new day. The past is the past. And we can choose to live our lives in the past, or we can choose to live our lives with every new day that we are given. What is that movie with Tom Hanks? Is it Groundhog's Day? Where he keeps waking up on the same day for like so much time. Same day, same routine. Don't put yourself in that position where you're doing like a Groundhog's Day every single day. Same routine, same feelings, same regrets. Because you're never going to heal. You're never going to move forward but you're never gonna find peace. That's the biggest thing. And we are the ones who can give ourselves peace. What I hear directly is getting down, maybe start praying for patience, praying to have openness, praying to have acceptance. That's the same with positive affirmations too. Creating positive affirmations that say it's okay to be present for this moment. Positive affirmations saying that it's okay to let go of the past. Or a positive affirmation saying, I am not my past self anymore. Because we have to redirect the thoughts if we want to have that ascension. Because we got good thinking one way, and you've practiced it for years and years and years. Now it's time to practice something different. And no matter whatever you practice, you generally get good at. So how can we get good at the other side of the coin? Seeing things from a different view. All right, what do we have? 2 more cards. All right. What do we talk about? That letting go. Letting go the attachment, the judgment, and that one view. That one view. Yes, the Queen of Swords is wonderful when she's upright. She is so smart. This person doesn't deal with no bull. She definitely stays on the schedule. And she is not going to let anybody come up and run any foul on her. But the Queen of Swords energy doesn't make room for anybody else to bring in another idea. It's almost like right on the edge of it's my way or the highway kind of energy. It's almost like cut stuff out first, then ask questions later kind of energy. How can we drop that kind of energy? Because it's time to kind of be a little different with it. Here's an example. I had somebody who was going through something the other day, and they were really charged up in one direction. And that one direction, they were almost choosing violence. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Pump the brakes. Let's talk about this. And so what I told this person is it sounds like you're really upset. And it sounds like you were scared of what other outcomes could happen. And they said yes. And it also sounds like you are in fear of something in particular. Yes. And what I was doing is I was trying to help lead this person from not igniting the fuse of explosion right there to where they're going to explode on somebody, and dialing it back to mindfulness. Let's ask ourselves key questions as to why we're ready to explode on somebody. Why do we feel so passionate in that one way? And when you start to ask yourself, start to kind of open up to why you feel this and why you feel that, then you're going to see why stuff is being enhanced with your emotions. So it's just when you're feeling these emotions, it's not shutting it off, but giving yourself time to dial in and explore what's going on. Explore what the root is. Let's explore what this hurdle is. Is it as big as what we thought it was? Is it as high as we thought it was? And I say hurdle and not wall because this doesn't go on forever. Even though in our minds, when we put this block up to this hurdle, we are trying to fight that forever in a sense. But what we did is we kept us in a spot in our mind and in our emotions that has made us feel like forever. I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's go ahead. Last card. What's the last card out, Divine and Universal Energy? Last message. The last message comes dancing out. Reunion of souls. There's a few things that could come out about this, because this lands on that 10 of swords there. 10 of coins is more buried here. So this could be having a reunion with another part of yourself so that you're able to open up and move in a way where you're gonna find what people say is like a soul tribe. Could this be a mindfulness of opening up to maybe letting a future partnership in? Because remember, this could be person, place, or thing here, whatever this past situation's about. And creating that opening to where even we will pursue other things instead of the things we have been pursuing. Your past isn't in your present, and it's not a part of your future. And it's that way because the Sagittarius in this story made it that way. There was something here in this past that you didn't want to stay stuck in. What was it? What propelled you to keep moving forward, even through all the struggle of everything that's happened from then until now? How much strength did it take to get here to this present moment? Because again, if you're not in that past, you're not doing the same things that you once were doing, that means that you've kept evolving, you kept moving forward. So that would mean you're right on time. You're right where you're supposed to be. Yes, with this lesson, with this moment, yes. Because you have came so far enough that you're ready. You're ready to confront this hurdle, but you got to be truthful with yourself. You got to see that how overcoming this fear is going to untie you from the regrets of the past. All right, Sagittarius frequency. Thank you so much for hanging out. And don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy for coming in and being the protectors and the guides for these positive messages. And I hope you have a most wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.